I'm sure we all heard about the shooting in Orlando all over the news, right? Well, did you happen to hear about the heavily armed suspect that was arrested in LA the very next day? Neither did I. According to the newspaper article that I read, the suspect was arrested after he had been discovered with assault weapons and explosives. Reports have stated that top ISIS officials have called for attacks around the world during the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. In the phone call to police from Omar Mateen during the nightclub shooting, he spoke about the fact that there would be more attacks in the days to come. And then the next day, this incident occurred, which was not widely publicized. Is there a reason to not inform the people of these possible terroristic threats? In May, CNN addressed the call for lone wolf attacks by the ISIS spokesman Abu Muhammad al-Adnani. This is not the first year that ISIS has called for such attacks. Since 2014, there have been almost 100 terrorist attacks in nearly 24 countries. Not all attacks have been in other countries, though. ISIS has also targeted Christians and other minorities on their own soil. I think the big question on many people's minds is, what exactly does ISIS want? It is no secret the U.S. is following many suspects in our country that may have ties to ISIS. It's also no secret that we are not always accurate on whether or not those people are dangerous. Unfortunately, the events that occurred on June 11th at Pulse nightclub in Orlando fell into that category. Now we are aware that Mateen was on the FBI radar, questioned 2 separate times in connection with terroristic events, and ultimately cleared. During the attack, Mateen phoned police and pledged his allegiance to ISIS. In the same phone call, Mateen gloated about the possibility of attacks in the upcoming days. Could the arrest on June 12th in LA be one of those attacks? The article that I read didn't go into detail on the suspect. It just stated that the police received a tip from someone in the neighborhood, which ultimately led to the arrest. More disturbing than the thought of another attack the following day is, why was this not publicized? It was impossible for the authorities to know immediately whether this was related or an isolated event. However, the lack of information provided raises more questions than it gives answers. The piece of the information that seemed to stand out the most to me was the individual told police he was headed to the Pride Parade to look for a friend. Looking back on the investigations with Mateen, why were they so quick to rule out any connection between these events? Given the attacks around the world during Ramadan, the Orlando shooting with the phone call to police, and the arrest in LA the next day, I'm not sure I can fully say that I'm convinced this was just a coincidence. The simple fact that I had to search for information about someone walking to a public event armed with explosions has me really uneasy. My head is usually spinning with the amount of useless information that I hear on the news, and I just think, how can you leave this out?